Hey YouTube, what's going on? Hey, thank you for welcome to the channel or welcome back to the channel, depending on if you've been here before or not. This channel is called There Has to Be Something More, and I am your humble host, Scott Moore. On this channel, we talk about a little bit about retirement, especially trying to retire early, getting out of the rat race in the U.S., especially getting off that hamster wheel. Maybe go enjoying an adventure or two before we get to the age that we can't go have an adventure, and traveling around. My wife and I, Lydia, we are traveling between Mexico and Argentina for 4 or 5 years. Our first stop was my wife's home country of Nicaragua. We've been here just shy of 6 months. We'll be here for another 6 months. So you get to kind of take a peek at our life. We'll tell you like the smart things we do, the stupid things we do, and just kind of what daily life is like here. So thank you very much for joining us if you haven't been here before. I did this video outside yesterday and it was so beautiful, overlooking the mountains. Unfortunately, the breeze, because we get this fabulous breeze here all the time, just breeze that's just pouring in from the mountains, and I don't have one of those mics yet that work to protect it from the wind. So all you could hear was so unfortunately, as beautiful it was sunny, but anyway, we're gonna do it over again today, and I'm still on the hunt, but finding high-tech stuff in Matagalpa is a little challenging, so may have to run to Managua to get one of those. I've also got to pick up working on getting television here and all the American channels, because college football season's coming up, and growing in the South and the US, everything's about college football. As you can see, my Gator t-shirt. So I'm also looking for, I've got to find an adapter that's a USB-C adapter to an HDMI. It's one cable, but the USB-C is on one side, HDMI on the other. I have a MacBook Pro, so it doesn't have a HDMI port. So I'm working on that, and then I'm going to get YouTube TV so I can get all the American channels and all the football games. So if you're in another country, just an idea how you might get hooked up for American TV channels in college football season. Today, thought we'd take a few minutes and just cover some things that, and Lydia and I discussed this as we were kind of doing one of our walks a couple days ago. Just since we've been here almost 6 months, we thought we'd tell you things that we really like about Nicaragua. Later down the road, maybe even after we leave here in February, we're going to do one on things that we don't like, which are very few, but there are a few things that we don't like. But to cover the things that we really like about Nicaragua, the first one, and it sounds cliche because every one of these videos that you watch on 10 things I love about so-and-so country, it always talks about the people, but I have to say it's the people here are a really big thing. We've made some really great deep friendships since we've been here. We have friends that would just absolutely do anything for you. You can call them, it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night. So, leaving here will be bittersweet because of those relationships. And although you never know, when we finish doing our 4 or 5 years from Mexico to Argentina, eventually we're going to pick our favorite spot. Who knows? Maybe Nicaragua will be the favorite spot. Only time will tell. But fantastic friends here, wonderful people. Now, the people that you don't know, kind of when Lydia and I do a walk, we walk a lot. We don't have a car here, don't want a car here. We're thrilled that we don't have a car here. So walkability is one of the things that we love about Matagalpa. And by the way, if you haven't seen any videos on this channel before, the draw to Matagalpa is getting out of the heat up in the mountains, and it's still pretty hot. I mean, today I think it's supposed to be 83, 84, but right now it's really cool. The breezes are blowing in. I don't have any air on. I have one fan going. But so that's one of the big draws to Matagalpa. The other one is very few expats, almost no tourists. There might be Nicaraguan tourists, like people that are from other cities, but like seeing gringos around, there's a handful that I see quite a bit walking around, and I speak to them. But for the most part, you're getting away from all that, all the touristy stuff. You really see what Nicaraguan life is like, and you get a little break from the heat that's most of the country. When we walk around and just seeing people that we've not met before, I don't know if there's something with the Nicaraguan people, and I don't know if it's like a timid thing or what, but like, so when I'm walking down the sidewalk, a lot of times people will walk by me and they'll just look down and they won't say anything to me. Now, I do get the occasional, if I take an hour-long walk, I'll have one or two people that look at me like absolutely an alien from another planet, just because they don't see too many tourists here, and especially not many gringos. But yeah, so most people will just walk right past you on the sidewalk and kind of look down. But as soon as you say like hello, buenos dias, buenas tardes, usually almost all the time you're going to get a big smile and a buenas tardes right back to you. So they're just very nice, warm people. But if you don't say anything at all, they'll just kind of quietly walk right past you. And so the people here are absolutely wonderful. The weather, we've already kind of touched on a little bit. Lydia and I just have a thermostat that runs differently than most people. We just love cool weather. So, it's 83 here today for the high. The majority of the 24-hour day, it'll be in the 70s. So, for most people, that's awesome weather. I grew up in Florida. The weather here is much better than Florida. I mean, people always used to tell me, like when we were living in Sarasota or Naples, they'd say, oh my gosh, the weather there is fantastic. To me, it was really, really hot. And even though I grew up in Florida, for 40 years, lived in Florida, I never ever got used to the heat. So, but here it's a little better, it's a little bit cooler. Nights are cool, at night it goes down to 68, 69. So, you can sleep with the windows open. But I would guess for the majority of people, they would say the weather here is tremendous. Really, really nice. I even had one comment from a viewer that said that they left Matagalpa because it was too cold, which I find hard to believe. For me, that wouldn't work, but yeah, the weather's really, really nice here. And so I don't know what your thermostat is like, your body thermostat, but for most people, I would think it'd be wonderful. You can't do things you love about anywhere in Nicaragua without touching on cost of living. Lydia and I, we don't budget at all. I mean, we never sit down and say we really want to keep within this price and we don't want to spend money on this. We just do pretty much everything that we want. We have a nice little 3-bedroom, 2-bath rental house that overlooks the mountains. Has a big front porch on the front where we literally, I always make jokes about sitting in a rocking chair and rocking your Lifeway in the US, and here I am on a front porch rocking my Lifeway in Nicaragua. But it is really beautiful. So we've got a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, great neighborhood. We are like a 5-minute walk to get to the downtown area. Man, there's this fly that's just buzzing in here like crazy. So cost of living is just incredibly low. I mean, we do run the air. We have 2 senior dogs, Sam and Roscoe, and so we run the air at night for them. If I don't, even on the cooler nights, they'll still kind of pant a little bit, and I'll notice that if I wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes they're awake. But when I turn on the air, they just go into a little doggy coma. They're so happy in the air conditioning. So we run the air, and the electricity bill last month was about $80. Food is really, really inexpensive. I'm a vegan, so it's mostly fruits, veggies, rice, beans. But around here, the fruits and vegetables are everywhere. There's street vendors, there's huge mercados. If you want to eat well, I mean, and along the way, while you're just walking down the street, there'll be people selling like, like plastic cups full of chopped up mango or chopped up papaya, or big like quarters of watermelon. So everywhere you go, you'll see stuff like that. It's just wonderful. It's not. The other thing is, all the fruits and vegetables that you see, they're not every single one, but for the most part, they're ready to eat. And I remember one of the things that I hated in the U.S., I'd go into the public supermarket, and you couldn't find a yellow banana. I mean, not even close to yellow. They're all super green. So it's like you had to kind of plan, like, well, I've got to bring this home, and then a week from now, I can start eating bananas. Here, it's like the fruits they're ready to go. I mean, you can bring them home and eat avocados and beautiful tomatoes. The tomatoes in the U.S. to me are just tasteless. Like if you got a sandwich and you pulled a tomato off of there and you took a bite of it, it just didn't hardly taste like. It didn't taste like the tomatoes I remember when I was younger. But here, a couple of days ago, Lydia was sitting there eating one like an apple. They're red, they're juicy, and they taste like a tomato. So part of the cost of living is just really, really inexpensive. We pay gas that runs us, I don't know, $8 or $10 a month. That runs our stove and our oven. Water is like $8, I think. We do have high-speed internet and a television, which we really hardly ever watch. But that, for the highest speed internet and like 1,000 channels, I mean, we pay about $55. I am going to investigate that, because I may, if I can save a few bucks, I may drop the television completely, just keep the internet, and then do the YouTube TV. So then I get ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN 1 and 2, Fox Sports 1 and 2, SEC Network, all of those channels. So whether it's college football you're looking for or just American channels, right now I get maybe 3 channels that I can watch TV in English. So it's like, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Law and Order, all those, that kind of stuff. I can sit around and watch TV for a little while. But so I've gotten off on a tangent a little bit, but cost of living, very, very low. Running Lydia and I $1,000 to $1,100 or so every month. For our senior dogs, I would add in maybe $200, because they eat really well. We cook for them. But anyway, that's the cost of living is just super low. In all of Latin America, the only other country that I would say could probably compete with Nicaragua as far as cost of living might be Colombia. And that's on our list of places to go. So we'll eventually, we'll get down to Colombia. The mountains, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, are just stunning. And for a guy like me growing up in Florida where everything is flat, and living there for 40 years, it's just so cool to walk around and just see these beautiful mountains everywhere. On one side, you've got the huge cross that they've put up, and so everywhere you go, you can see the cross on the top of the mountains on one side. On the other side of the city, you've got the big, what they call the Mirador, which is a big overlook. Very cool. We did a video on that if you haven't seen that yet. You take this double-decker bus all the way up these windy mountain roads, and it's wild. You're also ducking because we had to be up on the top, so you have to duck to make sure you don't get hit by electrical wires. The ride is half of the fun. Then you get up there, and it's like a triple-decker, these big platforms, and they have stairs that go up to the next platform, so you can overlook the whole city. There's a really nice little restaurant there that has great food. Couple of dogs that are there that we fed a lot of French fries to. But yeah, so if you ever get to Matagalpa, that is one thing I would definitely suggest you do. It's a really cool place. You can go there, sit, have lunch. The buses, that double-decker bus runs like every hour. So if you want to hang out up there and have a couple of cold adult beverages or some Coca-Cola or something, you can hang out up there, and it's a very cool place. Couldn't leave this off the list, but Gallo Pinto, the painted rooster. Gallo Pinto is rice, beans, and seasonings. And here, you're gonna see it on the menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it is a staple of Nicaraguan food. It is fantastic. It's one of my favorite things. But definitely Gallo Pinto is one of those things that I just absolutely love. Next thing on the list. Now, some of you may not be either. I'm not a big drinker. I may have, 1 or 2 cans of beer every week. I may have 1 little tiny thing of bourbon. That's about it. I really don't drink very much, but I may have 2 or 3 a week. Here, one thing that, the least expensive drink is called guaro. There's a longer name for it, but everybody calls it guaro. It's clear. I don't recommend it. You can do that. People just drink it like shots, followed by salt and lime. But the good alcohol here is flor de caña. Flower of cane flower, flor de caña rum. And you can get it, you can get regular flor de caña, you can get it aged, so it's 8 years, 12 years, 18 years, 15 years. More it's aged, the more expensive it is. It's a really, really high quality rum. There is a national cocktail, which I had never heard of. Lydia is allergic to alcohol, so she does not drink at all. So she was not familiar with it either, but there's a national drink called Macau. And Macau has flor de caña rum, guava juice, and a couple other fruit juices that sometimes they'll put in there, but usually it's flor de caña rum, guava juice, a little bit of lime or lemon, and some simple sugar, which is like cane sugar and water mixed up half and half. So anyway, one of these days, next time we go to a decent restaurant, we really don't go out to bars, but if I ever do walk into one, I'm definitely going to try the Macau. And I may not even be pronouncing that right, but it's Macau. Another great thing about Matagalpa in particular is just the ease of getting around. So we talked about, Lydia and I do a lot of walking. Every day we're either in the gym or we're out doing long walks. Now sometimes, we'll do a long walk and then on the way home we'll do all of our errands. Got to stop by the hardware store, stop by the supermarket, grab some food, go to the mercado. So sometimes half of it is errands on the way back, but we try to get in either a long walk or a trip to the gym. I've lost 35 pounds in 5 months being here, and I haven't been dieting. It's really just the walking and all the fresh fruits and vegetables, getting away from, like in the US, I ate a lot of the Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, fake meats, fake cheeses. I miss those like you can't believe, but I have dropped a bunch of weight because now it's like fresh fruits, Gallo Pinto, fresh veggies. But yeah, so getting around is super easy. You can walk everywhere. Now, going up in the residential areas, like from here to downtown when you're coming back here, so when we're walking home, there's a lot of seriously steep hills. But once you get into the park areas, and there's a park on each side, north and south of the city, between those two, it's pretty much all flat. There's some really tiny little, slopes, but for the most part, it's flat. So very walkable. There's taxis everywhere, and they'll kind of slow down and beep, 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 see if, in waves, see if you need a ride. You can go, I don't think I've ever paid more than $2 to get somewhere in town. Usually it's like $1. So, like if we're coming from the supermarket and we've got a lot of bags full of stuff, it's usually $1 to get home. And they do charge per person. So if Lydia and I are together, it's $2. So if we're on the way, way, way far part of town, it may be $2 each. But our transportation costs are really super low. And again, we make an effort to walk. So if we're not tired or we don't have a lot of groceries, we'll just walk home. And that's around town. So you've got the taxis. Also, you're going to get to know people. Like, we've got friends here that have taxis. So a lot of times they're our first phone call. Hey, we're at the supermarket. We'll be, done in about 10 minutes. If you're close by, can you, pick us up and give us a ride home? So that makes it really easy. You're also within like 3 to 5 hours of all the other cool places to go in Nicaragua when you're here. So, whether you're going to San Juan del Sur, you want to hit the beach, you're going to Granada or Leon, the two big, beautiful colonial cities. You're going to Managua, you want to get into the big city to go to Walmart, PriceSmart, all the fancy restaurants are there. You can get pretty much anywhere in 3-4 hours. I don't think something maybe like 4.5 hours, but for the most part, you can get anywhere anybody would want to go in about 3 or 4 hours. So really convenient. Street food and small restaurants. So there's street food absolutely everywhere. We already covered the fruit and veggie vendors that'll even be walking through your neighborhood all the time. With carts, you'll see guys pushing carts. They'll have like bicycle wheels on them. They're pushing them up the hill, and they've got everything in there. Fruits, veggies, it's full. And you just flag them down and say, how much is this? How much is that? And most of the time we get our veggies right here at the front door, fruits and veggies. The small mom and pop restaurants, those are the ones that Lydia and I really kind of like, and we've got a couple favorites. The one we go to for breakfast, our little breakfast spot, breakfast or lunch really, runs anywhere from like about $1 to maybe $2 at the most. And so I get Gallo Pinto. There's a lady outside that does the hot fresh tortillas. Coffee or juice comes with that. And mine's usually like 40 Cordovas, just like $1.05, I think, $1.10. Lydia will get like eggs and cheese and Gallo Pinto and again, coffee or juice or whatever. So usually $1, $1.50, might $2 max. So we love the little mom and pop places, and we're constantly kind of popping in to try different ones. If you go to the mom and pop places right off the main street, you will have people coming in and asking you for money. So we kind of try to avoid those. We try to go kind of back a block or two, kind of away from the busy spots, and you don't get that too much. But right there on the main street, people will just walk right into the restaurant and right up to your table and start asking you for money. So anyway, Lydia's real good about keeping coins with her. And so, if it's a 80-year-old lady or something like that, then, Lydia always has coins and stuff to give them, or, small amounts of money to give them. But, you can only help a certain amount of people before you go broke. And you will see that walking around town. So the last thing that I was going to touch on is, and this has gone a lot longer than I thought it would go, this video, but I wanted to touch on one of my favorite things about being here is music. And I'm a music lover. I love pretty much all music. There's a little bit of like hip hop and stuff like that I'm really not into, or rap. But probably my favorites are probably like old time country classics. I love 80s music, I don't know, Queen, the groups like that. It brings back memories of high school and college, and love salsa music. So if you're not familiar with salsa music, when you get here, you will be. So, go on YouTube and do a search for like Mark Anthony. I mean, he's like maybe the king of salsa. The guy that used to be married to Jennifer Lopez, Jerry Rivera, all kinds of, or just type in, do a search for like, greatest salsa music songs, and you'll get all kinds of stuff. But everywhere you go, if you're walking through residential areas, walking around your neighborhood, you're gonna hear people blasting out music. If you are walking downtown, the stores will have big giant speakers out front. So it's like everywhere you go, there's music. And for the most part, it's going to be ranchero, salsa, all the different types of Latin music. But I would say maybe 10% will be American music. Or, you know, American style. I say American and I kind of wrap like the Beatles in with that. But so just, it was kind of funny because like the last week I started jotting down different American songs that I heard. So I heard like Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I'm telling you, I've heard that 10 or 12 times in the last 5 months since I've been here. So that's really popular around here. I heard Cher, I heard the Beatles, and some neighbors were blasting out Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. So music is really, really cool here. It's definitely a part of the culture, part of life here, and something that I really enjoy. Everywhere you go, you're going to hear music. So one of the kind of the fun parts of life here. If you're getting anything out of the videos on this channel, please take a minute to like and subscribe. If you smash that thumbs up like button and hit the subscribe, so when we do another video, it comes to you. We've got a lot of cool things coming up that I think you're going to like. So it really does help us if you hit the like and subscribe, all the algorithms for YouTube, or share this. Put us on your Facebook or Instagram. It would be great for us. So thank you very much for doing that. If you are, according to my analytics, most people watching this channel, and not everybody, but a huge portion are Americans that are somewhere between 50 and 65. And if you're in that group, if the thought of sitting in your rocking chair on your front porch in the U.S. During your retirement years sounds boring to you, it really, really depressed me, the idea of doing that. I just thought it would be, I love my country, I'm very patriotic, but I've seen almost all of my country and I need some adventure. If you feel that way, if you want to get out of the rat race, maybe you don't hate your job, maybe you do hate it, maybe you just want to go do something fun instead of being on somebody else's time frame. This might be the right channel for you. And just remember, if you need a break, you want to get out early, there has to be something more.